he and 20 of his colleagues were out hunting. They had a small boat, and the boat was carried by the Amazon, and eventually they ended up on the other side of South America. And they reported seeing huge cities and highly sophisticated civilizations on their route, and they were never believed. Francisco Orellana was regarded as a liar until recently, when new work, mainly done with LiDAR, light imaging and detection ranging, has demonstrated the existence of large cities in the Amazon, that the Amazon was once home to millions more than previously thought. Why isn't it home to millions today? Because those Spanish brought smallpox with them, and the smallpox decimated the civilization of the Amazon and left those cities deserted and quickly overgrown by the jungle. And it's only recently that they've started to refine them. In areas that have been tragically cleared, we are seeing what those ancient cultures did. They created these huge geometrical earthworks in the Amazon. This isn't taken account of by archaeology at all. The LiDAR survey, just a tiny bit of the Amazon, has discovered a huge amount of these extraordinary earthworks, geometrical earthworks on a very large scale in the Amazon, not what we'd expect in the Amazon. And again, the point I want to make is, while we haven't properly done the archaeology of the Amazon, and new tempting clues are coming out of the Amazon every minute, while we haven't done the archaeology of the Sahara, are we really in a place to say that we know everything that happened during the last ice age and that we can absolutely write off the possibility of a lost civilization? I don't think so. What about the submerged continental shelves? Sea level rose 400 feet at the end of the ice age. It submerged 27 million square kilometers below. And that's roughly the size of China and Europe and the US added together. How much archaeology has been done on those 27 million square kilometers that were submerged by rising sea levels at the end of the ice age? The answer is not much. Most that's been done has been looking for shipwrecks from the medieval period. See, archaeologists know that there's no lost civilization to find during the ice age, so why spend the money looking on the continental shelves down to depths of 400 feet since you already know that you're not going to find anything there? Again, the ancient maps, I'm struck by the similarity between the Waldseemuller world map, based on all the source maps, and how Southeast Asia and Australia looked 21,300 years ago. And on the left is the Pinkerton map of 1813. It's a fantastic map. It's based on very precise navigational knowledge of the early 19th century. It's got South America, South Africa, Australia, all in the right place. But as you will observe, something's missing. And what's missing is Antarctica. And it's missing because in 1813, our civilization hadn't discovered Antarctica. So an honest man would not put anything there. So why does Antarctica turn up on much older maps? The Orochius Phineas map, for example, and many others show Antarctica in the right place, approximately the right size, a bit larger than it is today, but it was larger during the Ice Age. Why was there knowledge of Antarctica in old maps that were copied in the 15th and 16th centuries? Where did that knowledge come from? And lastly, the Piri-Reis map, and I did draw attention to this in the series, this curious underwater feature, the so-called Bimini Road, and the appearance of what looks like the Bimini Road on a large island off the coast of America. That large island is pretty much the right size and shape for the now submerged Bahama Banks. Nat Madol in Micronesia is built from columnar basalt on a series of islands. But what's interesting is when you go in the water off the front of those islands. Remember, I want to make a point that not enough work has been done underwater for archaeologists to say that it's certain that there was no lost civilization during the Ice Age. Now, I'm just one person with limited budgets, but I've done a fair amount of diving over the last 30 years, as much as we could afford at any rate, following up clues from local fishermen and local divers. And while I don't claim that what I'm going to show you next makes the case, I think it makes enough of a case to justify much further research underwater before we close our accounts with the possibility of a civilization during the Ice Age. So, first of all, you start seeing those columnar basalt blocks. Then as you go go deeper, it gets more complicated. And once you're down to about 27 meters, you're starting to see these huge pillars underwater. And this one is particularly interesting because it's similar to the pillars of the island of Tenet, which is not very far away from Micronesia. Except here, it's 27 meters underwater, and it's been underwater for more than 12,000 years. Now in Yonaguni, in Japan. Again, this is evidence that archaeologists dismiss. They say, oh, all these sites are just completely natural. There's nothing man-made about them. They haven't dived on them. I've done 200 dives at Yonaguni. I've explored every inch of that extraordinary place. And I'm just going to show you a few images. I'm diving here through a tunnel, a megalithic tunnel. You can see the megaliths on either side. And then as you come to the end of the tunnel, that's what you see confronting you, these two parallel blocks. It's an amazing place to dive, I have to say. Those two parallel blocks are situated at the edge of a huge rocky outcrop. So let's go round the corner now from here and see what we can find. Well, what we find is a perfectly flat platform with steps in it. And this, again, according to archaeologists who've never dived there, is entirely natural. Human beings had nothing to do with making it. It would be very disturbing for archaeologists if human beings did have something to do with making it, because its depth of submersion says it's more than 12,000 years old. Go back to the Temple Age.
That's it for this video. Don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. And you can also support the channel on Subscribestar via the link in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.